What's going on, everyone? Today I bring you the last round of Open San Sebastian. This was the ninth round, and this round I got paired up against a similar rated opponent as me, another 1600, and I was excited to play against someone of my elo, and to try to test out how I would do. So okay, my opponent had the white pieces. It was Alberto Butz, and he opened with knight f3. I went knight f6, and he went c4. And here, I always try to prepare against my opponent if he has any games on the database or online, stuff like that. I like to prepare against that. But I saw that he always played this setup of knight f3, c4, and there's a lot of options for me here. Honestly, I can play e6 and try to go for d5, sort of Queen's Gambit decline structure. I can go straight up into a symmetrical English, and I can also just probably play d5 and play this position out. But I wasn't really interested in playing those types of openings, so I decided to play something that I've never played once again. So I played g6, and after d4, bishop g7, knight c3, d6. So I played the King's Indian defense, pretty legendary opening, but yeah, I have no experience at all in the King's Indian, not even online. I don't even play it online. But I watched a video like before the game, and saw some ideas. Of course, I've seen some classics on the King's Indian, some videos, but yeah, I was just trying to freestyle it, and what can go wrong? I mean, just try to play some natural moves and play a game of chess. Okay, so here my pawn went for g3, so the fianchetto variation of the King's Indian. Here I played castles, bishop g2, knight bd7. Here my pawn castle, then I went e5, pretty natural break here, and my opponent went e4. And here, probably we are in some sort of theory, but I didn't really know any theory, and I decided to just play a6, just a simple waiting move. At first sight, it feels like I'm only stopping knight b5, but it's not even the idea. It's just to, in the future, play rook b8 and then play b5. But okay, here my opponent played h3, which looks like a weird move, but it makes a lot of sense because my opponent wants to play bishop e3, and he plays h3 to stop knight g4 harassing this bishop on e3. So a nice prophylactic move, also making some loot for the king in the future. Here I play rook b8, so I keep on going with my plan. Here my opponent plays a4, stops my plan of going b5. And here, okay, I make another waiting move. I just play rook e8. So I'm really not trying to touch the center. I'm just improving my pieces little by little and trying to see what he wants to go for. So here my opponent plays d5, and here I don't know if it's theory or not. Maybe it is. Maybe d5 is theory, but I was very happy to see d5 because now I get knight c5, and now I hit this pawn with tempo. So yeah, my knight looks very good on c5, and I was very comfortable here. So after my opponent played d5, I just took a deep breath and I was like, okay, I'm fine. I like my position. This knight is a monster on c5. I'm putting pressure on e4, and all is good. So yeah, here my opponent played knight e1, which makes sense, protecting the pawn on e4 and also threatening b4. So I play a5, and here my opponent plays knight e3, and okay, I trade. It takes back with the queen, and I play knight e7. And here I was like, okay, I'm getting along with the King's Indian very well. Like, I'm just recycling the knights, knight back to d7 to c5 to replace the other knight, and yeah, the knight wasn't doing much on f6. I always want to move this knight to play f5 in the future, so I felt like my position was great here, and yeah, the opening was a total success for me. Here my opponent plays bishop d2, which kind of surprised me. I was expecting bishop e3, honestly, to kind of, make me play b6 before I play knight c5 and kind of threaten always to take the knight. But at the same time, I don't really know if he wants to give up his dark square bishop for my knight. It's, it's debatable, but yeah. He didn't do that. He played bishop e2. Now I go to c5, hit the queen with tempo. So pretty good so far. He moves back, and then I play f5. So everything is flowing correctly and smoothly. Okay, here my opponent plays f3, and here I have a lot of options, right? And this is the part where probably knowing some plans and ideas would actually help me try to play this defense, because yeah, here I don't really know what to do, and when you don't really know what to do, you should probably do some kind of waiting move. So I played b6, consolidating my pawn on a5, which was kind of hanging, and also putting more defense to my knight here on c5 and kind of wait for him to do something. Here he plays knight d1, which apparently is actually a big mistake, which allows me to actually gain some advantage. But here I need to find a good move. Actually, there's a lot of good moves here, not just one, but I totally mess up. So he makes a mistake and I make a mistake right back. Here taking on e4 is a big mistake, which pretty much just makes my advantage disappear. So let's see what was actually the move here. The move here, which is kind of amazing that it works, is f4, and at first sight it looks like f4 just loses a pawn, because g takes on an f4, e takes on f4, and bishop takes on f4. But here black is way better because he has this very nice move, queen h4, hitting the bishop, and also when the bishop retreats, let's say he retreats to e3, here I take on h3, and after something like queen f2, trying to trade queens, I step back to h5, and here you can see that black has a lot of pressure on white's king. The king is just completely open. The knight here on d1 is doing absolutely nothing. The knight on c5 is still a monster. This bishop all of a sudden is a monster as well, and the rooks are coming to the f-file. So yeah, black is in full control and yeah, playing for a win here. But I totally missed this idea of queen h4 here. My opponent could also go for g4, but here, h5, and it's just literally King Xenian style, just being a complete savage and just throwing all the pawns, pawn storm on the king side. But and yeah, he takes back with the pawn on e4, and yeah, I play rook f8 here, and I offer a draw. Yeah, I offered a draw because honestly I wasn't really in the mood to play a long match. I was very tired, and yeah, it was the last day in San Sebastian, and I wanted to go to the beach and take a walk in the beach, hear some music, look at some sightseeing, and just enjoying the last hours in San Sebastian. But here my opponent wasn't really interested in a draw. He played knight f2. He declined the draw offer, and I was like, okay, now I'm mad. Now I'm gonna try to beat you. And yeah, I just played bishop d7. I wanted to put some pressure on a4, also develop my bishop. Here he plays b3. I play queen e7, makes sense, connecting my rooks and probably trying to put some pressure on the f-file. But here my opponent played knight e3, which just allows a lot of trades, and that's what happened. I took on d3, took the knight, I took the rook on f1, it takes the rook, and I play rook f8. And here, after rook takes on f8, queen takes on f8, my opponent offered me a draw, and I accepted the draw. And yeah, this was the game. Was pretty uneventful. There wasn't much action. There was no fireworks. It was just a pretty boring game. But after all, it is what it is. It's probably my fault that I just allowed all these things. But I was okay with the draw. I don't win points. I don't lose points. It's pretty much the same rating. So that's how it goes. And yeah, this was a tournament. I think it was a pretty good tournament overall. Also, just to gain some experience against higher rated opponents. First tournament outside Portugal, which is also was very nice to finally play something outside Portugal. But yeah, this was the tournament, guys. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.